There's something that I think people who voted Conservative in the last election need to sort of reconsider. They need to understand it from a different point of view, if you will, and that is that the economy is broken. It simply isn't working for normal people, for ordinary people, and given the current state of the economy. Most jobs pay no more now than £7.20 an hour. I mean, I personally have had 5 or 6 jobs in the last 4 years. I've worked as a chef, I've worked as a barman, I've worked in a chicken shop, a sandwich shop, a telesales, I've done telephone interviews, and I've never once earned over £7.50 an hour in the last 3 or 4 years. Now, if you're doing that full time, that equals £1,100 a month. The average cost of living in the UK in 2017 is around £1,000 a month. So unless you're university educated or you've got a certain skill in a certain area or you own a business, then you literally don't stand a chance. You're not going to cope. Now, ignoring the rampant rise of zero-hour contracts for a moment, and if you're working 40 hours a week in any so-called democratic society in the world, then I believe you should be able to have a decent standard of living. That's what our whole system is based on. You work hard and you get a decent life. Well, it's not happening. It's simply not happening. And the reality is that if you work 40 hours a week on minimum wage, then you're bringing home about £14,000 a year. £14,000. In the current economy, that simply isn't enough to live, and people aren't coping. And you know, people might say, well, just get a better job, go and do a degree. Well, some people just aren't intellectual, and aside from that, the amount of people that go to university nowadays, it's almost not worth going. Everybody's got a degree. And on top of this, rent prices are spiralling out of control. Wages have been stagnating for years, and inflation is the devil in disguise still. And so the system's broken. You've got people working 40 hours a week, 80 hours between 2 parents, and they're having to go to the food bank to feed their children at the end of the week. And don't forget, around 60% of households that are classed as being in relative poverty in the UK today have at least one parent in full-time work. So don't buy the nonsense that it's just benefit scroungers and lazy people that are in poverty. It's not. It's everyday people. I mean, how broken is a system that puts somebody working 40 hours a week into poverty? And then you consider the bankers, who in the last few years screwed up so badly they were bailed out by the taxpayer to the tune of billions and billions of pounds, and yet they're getting millions in bonuses. For what? For screwing up. Yet normal people are working hard tirelessly for no reward to pay off the debt incurred by somebody else. Is that not wrong? And for the record, I'd include you in that. Why should you be paying the debt that somebody else incurred? You shouldn't. So don't swallow the mainstream media lies and blame the wrong people. Now, obviously, it's easy to forget all this and get trapped in your own bubble, living in your own world. We all do it. I do it. I completely understand. But that doesn't change the facts, and it doesn't mean that you should carry on voting for a system that allows this to happen simply because it doesn't affect you, because one day it will. Now, on top of all this, by the way, we're now seeing the most disgustingly harsh and uncalled for measures of austerity against the most vulnerable people in our society. And just in case you were in any doubt, in the last 7 years, poverty is up, child poverty is through the roof, zero-hour contracts are hiding the realities of the broken labour market, homelessness is skyrocketing, and people simply are not coping. Do me a favour, next time you're out in the high streets, take a look around. Is that what you voted for?